Let me ask you this. What if I told you a team that's historically been the definition of fiscal restraint is now considering one of the most expensive trades in recent memory? The Milwaukee Brewers, a club that's spent decades avoiding the spotlight of big-money deals, are suddenly in the mix for Tarik Skubal, and they're willing to pay almost $10 million of his salary to get him. Now, that's not just a number. That's a seismic shift in strategy for a franchise that's always played it safe. But why would they do this? Let's unpack it, because this isn't just about a pitcher. It's about identity, risk, and what it means to chase a title in a league where the odds are stacked against you. Here's the thing. The Brewers aren't exactly rolling in cash. Their payroll is already one of the highest in franchise history, and adding nearly $10 million for a rental starter feels like a gamble. But here's what's fascinating. They've been taking risks this summer. Remember when they paid over $2 million of Lance McCullers Jr.'s salary to get Colton Gordon? That wasn't just a trade. It was a statement. They're investing in depth, in future value, and in the idea that sometimes you have to bet on the long game, even if the immediate return isn't clear. And now Skubal? He's not just another arm. He's a Cy Young winner, a guy who's proven he can dominate. But here's the catch. The Brewers aren't just paying for his talent. They're paying for a narrative. A narrative that says, we're not the same team we used to be. Let's talk about the rotation. Jacob Misiorowski is a generational talent, but the rest of the staff? It's a bit of a roller coaster. Brandon Woodruff is out for the year. Quinn Priester had thoracic outlet surgery. Kyle Harrison is back from the IL, but still finding his footing. And then there's the workload issue. Guys like Logan Henderson and Shane Drowan are throwing more innings than they ever have before. It's a ticking clock. If you're the Brewers, you look at this and think, we need stability. We need a proven arm. Skubal gives that. But here's the deeper question. Is he worth the price? Because if they trade for him, they're not just spending money. They're signaling to the entire league that they're serious about contention. That they're no longer content with being the almost team. Now, let's rewind to 2008. The Brewers traded Matt Laporta and a bunch of prospects for CC Sabathia. That deal is legendary. It's the kind of move that changes a franchise's DNA. Sabathia carried them to the playoffs, became a legend in Miller Park, and even though they didn't win the World Series, that trade defined an era. So what's different now? Well, the Brewers are already in the postseason picture. They have Misiorowski, a bullpen loaded with fireballers, and a farm system that's deep enough to make a splash. But here's what's wild. This trade could be the next chapter in that legacy. Skubal isn't Sabathia, but he's a Cy Young winner. And if he can replicate even a fraction of what Sabathia did in 2008, the Brewers could be in for something special. But let's not forget the elephant in the room, the asking price. The Tigers aren't going to give up much unless they get a top-tier prospect. And the Brewers have Jesus made, the best prospect in baseball. But they also have a system stacked with talent. So maybe they can make a deal without sacrificing their future. The real test isn't just whether they can afford Skubal's salary. It's whether they're willing to bet on a playoff run by trading away their next star. Because if they do, they're not just building a rotation. They're making a statement. And that's what makes this so damn interesting.